disheartening to say the least. Hopefully, we can get some folks back. Picked up a few more subscribers in the midst of that. So I'm going to chat on here till we get back. What I have to do is try to find the comments. There were some really good comments on there that I've lost, and I'm going to try to get back to it and see if I can't address those comments again. So here we go. What's going on there? Okay. So nobody's back with me yet. Hopefully, folks will get back. It does say I'm live streaming again, or is it? Okay, there we go. Right, I'm back live streaming. So, wow. Gosh, I really hate that. I don't understand what the deal is with this stuff. Anyway, folks, so back here on the stream once again. Let's get back to I got to get back to the original one here. So let me find my YouTube and try to get back to that video and get to the end of it and see if it lets me do that, because that one will let me see those questions again because I have the chat on. So I'm trying to get to that, giving people a chance to catch up here and get back into the stream. So give me a moment. I was talking about Tanzania. Okay, so that's live. I want that one. And here we go. Upcoming. Something's not wrong here. Okay. Is this the one that had the chat on it? Okay, let me see. Okay, yeah. That's not what I want. Okay. Well, I can't get to the questions. I'm very sorry about that. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, I've lost some really good questions there. My sincere apologies here. It's the red ants. I have to say it's the red ants. I'll blame it all on the red ants. But let me get back to. I'm trying to get back to the live stream here. So okay, so Anthony can see you. Great, Anthony. Thanks. Sorry about that. I get bumped off here, and I don't know what the deal is. So one of the things that before it went away, I forget what I was talking about, but I did see a question. Someone asked for my favorite NFL team. Lifelong National Football League supporter. However, when the NFL went to taking knees and disrespecting patriotism, and then not articulating why they were doing it, I kind of fell away from the National Football League. But I've been a lifelong Colts fan. They were the Baltimore Colts. I'm originally from Baltimore, and I was a Colts fan for a long time. And so I am still kind of a Colts fan if I get back to it. So, yeah, I kind of follow the Colts. I'm going to give a chance this year, what with the breakdown of COVID-19, perhaps it's time to come back to the NFL and give them another chance. But I've not been a big fan of them the last few years. They've signed Phillip Rivers from the San Diego Chargers or Los Angeles Chargers to play for the Colts this year. So that's who I will support, assuming we have an NFL season. Anthony Jenkins asked a question, where are you at? I'm in central Pennsylvania, a little hamlet of Dillsburg, named after a gentleman named Dill. And this is for the dill pickle, the Dillsburg. So we have a pickle drop that happens here every year. I've never been to it in the few years I've been here. But this is just where I wound up at. I'm not originally from Pennsylvania. I'm from Maryland. But then I've lived all over the country as a child and then went in the Army and lived all over the world. So I'm just here because my last assignment was as Director of African Studies at the U.S. Army War College here in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. So anyway, let's see. So DM says, for the talk of it all, could you guys confirm if the loans from the IMF and World Bank have terms that might make EWC harder? I can confirm that right now. We don't have to wait, DM, for the discussion with Ronaldo. No. There's virtually no conditions or preconditions or ties to this money coming from the IMF and World Bank. The loans are being made at 1% interest, and the restrictions, the standard structural adjustment policies, are not attached to these loans. And honestly, to be quite frank with you, I suspect that the money that the IMF and World Bank are granting today and giving to countries that need it, particularly in Africa and the developing world, will be overlooked, forgotten, and just, the other direction. They're not going to really do much with it down the road. If I suspect they'll probably be considered grants at some point and not even be expected to be paid off. They'll just be forgiven. That's my expectation. Whether that happens or not, we'll see. But right now, the loan terms are incredibly generous. The interest rate is lower than inflation anywhere on the planet at 1%. So it's not really a loan as much as it is a grant. The country's paying the money back. If they get around to paying the loans back to the IMF and World Bank, will be paying back future dollars worth less than the money they borrow. So it's not really a loan. All right. So let's see. What happened when the red ants? They're outside tearing down the side of my building, my structure, and they cut the cable. So I lost my internet. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Gabor says, can they take your foreign funds held abroad? The only way they could take foreign funds, I presume we're talking about discussion about EWC and property. The only way they can take foreign funds would be if they presented legal basis to a foreign country that you had that money illegitimately. And a country would have to comply and agree with do that. One of the reasons why a lot of people banked in Switzerland for so long, and the Cayman Islands and the Channel Islands in Austria, is because there's secrecy laws. And so if, say, the German government wanted to know how many Germans had money in Swiss banks, they refused to tell them because your privacy is protected. And so in the 1990s, under increasing pressure because of assets taken by Nazis from Jews and others and put in banks in the 1930s and 40s in Switzerland, and plus drug dealers and other criminals, the Swiss came under increasing pressure to ease their banking secrecy laws, and they did eventually. So it's not the safest place to park your money if you're doing it illicitly. However, if you're a law-abiding citizen, the Swiss won't turn your data over. They have to have a warrant from a foreign country at the legitimate basis to have access to your banking information. But before, even if they had a warrant, they just ignore them. Swiss will no longer do that because their economy is too small to ignore the impact of sanctions from others, particularly in the aftermath of 9/11 and counterterrorism financing laws have been put in place to track the flow of money. So if you have assets in a foreign bank account and you're a South African and the EWC amendment to the Constitution gets proposed and voted on and approved and becomes the law, if they try to take your assets that are abroad, they're going to have to present a legitimate reason and a warrant or a court order or something like that to the foreign authorities. So your assets are most likely protected from South African authorities would be my expectation. Can they take your foreign funds? Okay, how are we doing? Well, Coolio, I was doing great, man. We had 34 people on here and some fantastic questions coming. This, by the way, this started out as the cereal roast. Today's menu, we don't have kudu. We're fresh out of fresh kudu. That's kind of redundant there. We're out of fresh kudu. So today we were having roast cereal. After listening to President Ramaphosa tell us that that we are, of course, a consultative government and transparent. Yes, listening to the Dalek himself, Cyril Ramaphosa, talk about the transparency of South Africa's African National Congress government. Exterminate, exterminate. Yeah, listening to that. This was a roast of Cyril, but we kind of got away from that. People asked some good questions. I was asked to pick a random country on the map and talk about it. I did that. We're talking about Tanzania, and that's where I was in the conversation. So let me get back to that. If you had a question I didn't answer, please type it back in. I suspect I've lost a few good questions because people haven't migrated back here. That's unfortunate. Anyway, but that's what happens with my connection here. I don't know why. Anyway, I think I'm going to fix it with a PC. I'm in the process of setting up a proper studio now rather than just doing it the way I'm doing it. Anyway, so back to Tanzania. So Tanzania merged when Zanzibar became Tanganyika became Tanzania. They tried the socialist path. It failed. The country came back, grew well in the 90s, in the odd decade, but now they're running into some trouble. And that was Tanzania. I guess I did finish Tanzania. So let's see. William says, as someone who heavily studies South African history, it makes me extremely angry how EWC is falsely justified. Well, of course, William, and that's what I'm going to talk about extensively on Sunday, provided we have the time and people want to hang around. That issue is that, the history is completely distorted in South Africa for political reasons, and it is used to bifurcate society on racial lines, all for electoral gain. And besides the fact that that's shameful, the caustic impact of that and what it does on social relations and on South Africa's economy and its society is just really, really sad. So we will talk about that on Sunday on Ronaldo Host program, Expropriation Without Compensation. You'll be getting a view from someone who's not a South African, but knows a thing or two about South Africa. So you'll hear my views on it. And I'm not a member of AfriForum. I'm not associated with the Institute for Race Relations. I'm definitely not a member of the African National Congress, nor am I a member of the Democratic Alliance. I'm simply an interested third party who takes objection to the distortions of history and also the idiocy of overturning an entire country for a political purpose that is not going to accomplish anything except impoverish millions of South Africans. So that's the angle I'll be coming at it when we talk about it on Sunday. Kalia says, man, Roman's stream about the speech tonight was crazy. Yeah, I did miss Roman's. The problem, guys, is that, okay, so I went on to Ronaldo's stream, and it's great as usual, but there's 5,000 people, and the chat's like, you can't read any of the chat, and people got great things to say, and you can't follow anything. So I switched to Roman. He had 3,500 on his stream, and it was almost as fast. And I said, you know what? I wasn't planning on doing a live stream this afternoon during the speech, but I just figured out how to get my software to work so I could actually put the stream in. Well, I put Ramaphosa on there just to come up and offer a window where we get more chat in here and I could actually address questions. and and answer your questions, and we could interact, because that's a nice part about this, isn't it? We get to interact and people get to share their views. So that's why I started the live stream. We got like 35 people on here, especially after Ramaphosa went off, and I started the roast of Cyril, and it was great. And then the red ants cut my line, and anyway, so now we're back up to 14 people, and the questions are coming once again. So yeah, that's why I created a stream. I don't usually try to create a stream to compete with Ronaldo or with Roman. But so many people are on there. A couple of viewers who might come to my channel isn't going to hurt their numbers, and it gives all of us a chance to interact rather than just watching the stream fly by so fast you can't see anything. I mean, if you type a sentence in that chat with 6,000 people responding and probably 100 giving chat, by the time you finish the sentence, what you were reading when you started is already 3 screens up, and it's difficult. All right, so let's get back here. DM, thanks. Well, you're most welcome. Whether I answered your question or I explain why I'm doing it or why I did a stream, that's great. William says again, the politicians don't know their history. One AMCMP thought that the first prime minister of South Africa was Louis Botha, who was born in another country. Yes, and they do know that the Antichrist was named Jan van Riebeeck. They do know that. That much they've learned. Apparently, he's the Antichrist. And apparently, people were enslaved. Africans were enslaved in 1652. Well, if only that were true. The Dutch who landed at the Cape Colony in 1652 made an effort to enslave the Khoi and the San, but it didn't work out so well. They really didn't like being enslaved. They were useless as slaves, and they just sat around, didn't work. And so when they weren't hunting down the San in particular, who many consider to be subhuman, when they weren't doing that or knocking boots and intermixing with them and creating what became eventually the Cape Colored community, when that wasn't happening, they tried to enslave them, and it didn't work out very well. So the Dutch, who had slavery in the Dutch East Indies, also known as Indonesia today, brought slaves from that area and landed them in Cape Town. And they also became part of the Cape Colored community. And then also was the introduction of Islam for the first time in Southern Africa, took place there in South Africa. And those were the slaves. But the story is very different when you listen to members of the African National Congress who intentionally distort and lie about history. Anyway, yeah, there you have it. So let's see what else here. If you had, Gabor says, if you had dual citizenship and had money offshore, can SA government take it? They can charge you with a crime potentially, I suppose, but they can't. I don't think they can take your money. I mean, again, you have to have the consent of where the money's at. Now, because of 9/11 and counterterrorism measures, access to money by governments and finding out where people have money and how much money they transfer is much simpler today than it was, say, in 2000, 20 years later, much simpler. But if you haven't done anything illicit or improper or illegal, if you've paid taxes in the jurisdiction you're supposed to pay, you follow the laws, governments can't simply confiscate your money without passing laws to take your money. And I'm talking about the foreign government. So if you have money in a German bank, there's no reason for the Germans to comply with the South African request unless they produce a warrant or some sort of order that's legitimate. And so I'm not encouraging people to park their stuff offshore, but honestly, the rand is worth very little these days. So if you have any foreign currency, it's probably just a safe backup to have it as an investment so you have something to fall back on. The way that South Africa is going under Cyril today, we could expect to see the rand continue to fall 25, 30. I would not be shocked to see the rand at 40 to the dollar by the end of the year, given the economic carnage that's taking place. We don't even know the scale of it at this point. By the time it's over, it might be beyond perception how bad the carnage has been economically for South Africa. You already had 40 to 50% unemployment, even though the government says it was 29%. That's nonsense. That's not a true statistic. It was more like 50 or higher. You already got 70, 80% unemployment now, maybe even higher. We just don't know. We will find out eventually, but we just don't know. Yeah, and Malaysia. William says Indonesia. That's correct. Malaysia was part of the Dutch East Indies. That is correct. Yeah, I started to say Malaysia, but I got off on a tangent there. Let's see. So DM says, would the United States oppose EWC and act against it? South Africa, not worth the attention. Well, yeah, it depends. So when Trump gets reelected in November, presuming that the states don't resort to this fraudulent absentee balloting where they're mailing multiple ballots to anyone who's had that address at a residence over the past decade or so. In some cases, people have been receiving ballots in some of these states for primaries. They're getting 4 or 5 ballots from people that have been dead for 10 years, but they had that address and had registered to vote there at one time. And so 3 or 4 people, so someone who's dishonest gets 6 ballots in the mail for them, their spouse, for the previous tenant and his spouse and their adult child. Suddenly you got 5 ballots. You pick whoever you want, one party or the other, and odds are it's not going to be Trump's. Anyway, so you see what happens. As long as that doesn't happen, Trump should win re-election, even with COVID-19. And if Trump wins re-election, it's likely if the ANC moves forward with EWC, you will be hearing rhetoric out of Pompeo and out of Trump. It won't be consistent or daily, but you will hear it because they are inclined to be angry about that. Whether they'll take action or not, the first action that the government of the United States, now I'm no longer in government, I'm no longer a soldier, so I can prescribe policy now. So that's what this is. When I served in uniform, I couldn't do this because it was forbidden against the law. But now that I'm out, I can prescribe policy. If South Africa amends its constitution to include expropriation without compensation, the United States should suspend the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act because you're required to uphold property rights in order to qualify for the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. The suspension of the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act would be devastating for South Africa. It has very little impact for us, but it would be devastating for South Africa, who relies on the duty-free exports that they send to the United States, in particular things like BMW parts manufactured in South Africa, but also a host of other products and services from South Africa. Those products would all suddenly become subject to tariffs. Normal tariffs, not punitive tariffs, just normal tariffs, because South Africa has an advantage. So, hey, the Brew, welcome aboard. So what would happen is that the South Africans would lose that advantage. And that's what should happen by law. I guess I'm not prescribing policy. I'm simply stating what the public law is in the United States, that South Africa must adhere to property rights. And they've been warned. What is interesting in Cyril Ramaphosa's speech from a short while ago is that twice he mentioned the United States. I didn't hear him say China once in the speech. That was encouraging. But I did hear him mention the United States. He talked and he thanked explicitly at the outset, thanking the United States government for its assistance fighting COVID-19. That was impressive. That was stark. That's something that should always happen. I'm going to switch to my microphone so we get a little bit better sound quality here, because I just realized that I had it off because I had, hang on a second. Make sure you guys can still hear me in a second. All right. If you can't hear me, then say can't hear. But I think you can hear me. This is a better quality mic. This is my Blue Yeti 10th anniversary. So this is what I purchased with my white privilege. Yes, my white monopoly capital is responsible for this microphone, manufactured in Asia, probably by Chinese. Anyway, so there you go. Yeah, the ventilators. No, you're absolutely welcome. Yep. No, so Ramaphosa, did you notice, went out of his way to thank the United States. That's shocking. That sends a political message, by the way. And the second thing is he later also mentioned something about the United States later in the discussion before he wrapped up. Oh, that's what it was. He talked about King Franklin Delano Roosevelt, although he pronounced his middle name Delano, but that's fine. That's phonetic. So Franklin Roosevelt, he talked, oh, you can hear this. That's great. So he mentioned Franklin Roosevelt, and that was interesting. Although you will find in this country, many centrist and right of the center of the aisle folks take extreme issue with King Franklin, I being one of them, a man who single-handedly lengthened the Great Depression by at least 5, maybe 8 years because of the policies that he undertook, and set us on a path of far greater social distribution and socialism in this country that we live with to this day. Now, he had good intentions, I think, in some respects, but I also think he wanted to expand the power of the state, which he was successful at doing. And the consequence, starting in the 1930s, the U.S. federal government has become ever more powerful and ever more imposing on the liberties and freedoms of our citizens. Anyway, but Ramaphosa mentioned U.S. donating money, and then he quoted Roosevelt at the end. Wow. What's with the obsequiousness suddenly towards USA? Usually he can't be bothered to mention USA, particularly something like this. So maybe he's just hearkening back to Roosevelt to hope that people will, not pay attention to what he's doing behind the curtain. Yep. Okay. So let's get back to foreign funds. Let's see. Kyle says, you have a lot of value to add to people that watch your live streams. Well, thank you, Kyle. It's very kind of you. By the way, thanks, folks. We got 20 viewers right now. We lost some viewers earlier with the red ants cutting my cable. But thanks for coming back. Those who can make it back, I hope you enjoy it. This is the second version of this stream. And since I don't edit my videos and splice them together, it'll be 2 versions anyway. But no, this is a pleasure for me, and I'm glad that I can contribute my knowledge and my analytical capability. I hope that you find it valuable. That's my intent. And what's, I suppose, for South Africans, what's nice when you listen to me is that I'm not a South African. So people can't accuse me of, well, you're a South African. No, I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't own major possessions. I own no diamond mines or platinum mines in South Africa. I own no property in South Africa. I'm not married to a South African. I'm not from South Africa. So the views are mine. Now, yeah, I know I'm one of those evil colonizers from the oppressive West. So I guess that's a distraction. But I don't think that really affects my analysis or my content. Let's see. I'm off. Oh, I chased William off. He must have had to take off there. Okay. Nicholas says, Chris White, good evening. Colonel, hope you're well. Just finished watching silly Ramaphosa speech. Yes. Well, Nicholas, for those who've hung around and rejoined me after the break in action and come back after my video got cut, my apologies for repeating this, but there's a line that I'll probably make a video on just this line and talk about it, where Ramaphosa said, of course, we are a consultative government and transparent. No, you're not. And so that's the thing I'll take from this speech, and the fact that he mentioned America specifically twice. And the third thing I'll take from the speech is I think that Cyril Ramaphosa is a Dalek. For those who don't watch Doctor Who, the Daleks are the cybernetic organisms with human brains and mechanical bodies, and they talk like this. Yes, and they always want to exterminate. So from Doctor Who, from science fiction. So Cyril is talking about, we have taken all of the right measures. We have slowed the transmission of the virus. Exterminate, exterminate, exterminate South Africa's economy and social livelihoods. Anyway, so Nicholas, you might have missed that earlier. I was talking about Ramaphosa as a Dalek. I think he's secretly a Dalek. I was calling him Puxatani Ramaphosa earlier in the videos I did this afternoon because he'd been missing in action for 3 weeks. And it's almost like the groundhog here, Puxatani Phil, who pops his head out every spring. He looks around, the media takes thousands of photographs. He probably runs back in his hole because they're snapping the cameras. But Puxatani Phil looks around. If the weather looks good, he hangs outside. But if he turns tail and runs back into the hole, that means winter is going to continue for another 6 weeks. At least that's the story. Puxatani Phil. So I called him Puxatani Ramaphosa as he finally popped his head out from the presidential mansion after 3 weeks to say hello to the country and tell us the same gobbledygook nonsense that he was sharing with us 3 weeks ago. The only difference is he modulated what the levels were, and now we're even more confused. Can we buy bikinis? No. Can we buy bikini briefs? They're underwear. Anyway. All right, so back to the Anthony says, do you think the government will go into the public's pension fund? Absolutely, Anthony. I have no doubt whatsoever that the government, in whatever fashion it finds is necessary to do it, and that would probably be by passing public law, would find a way to steal from the pension funds, most definitely. And it's going to start with state-owned enterprises, and then it's going to continue on into your private pensions, would be my expectation. Now, this would be absolutely disastrous for South Africa. What South Africa really needs to do is the ANC needs to have some humility. And they need to be honest and say that they're bankrupt, that they have no money. That's why they have junk bond status, and that their macroeconomic policies have failed South Africa. And they must pull back BEE. They must abandon EWC. They must abandon the National Health Insurance Initiative, and then refocus the economy. And now devote genuine resources towards public education so that the next generation of South Africans are actually literate. They can actually become structural engineers. And that's what they need to do. Will they do that? Unlikely that they will take those measures. At best, the ANC will take half measures, and the country will continue on the path that it's at right now, which is sad. But yeah, I do expect to see them start taking money out of people's pensions. Variable Vision says Lana Marks will I like how you spell that, Marks. That's actually not her spelling. For those who don't know, Lana Marks' last name is spelled M-A-R-K-S, not M-A-R-X as in Karl Marx, but I love the wordplay there, Variable Vision. Well done. We'll probably support EWC. She's very uncritical. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with Lana Marks or why she's there, other than the fact that she's an incredibly wealthy, connected New York socialite who obviously knew Donald Trump before he became president, and is simply a payback for her support during the campaign. If Trump gets reelected, I would not be surprised to see her replaced early in the second term. In fact, I'd like to see her replaced. Having watched her with Voldemar Pelzer, I don't know what she's drinking. Oh, of course, I love the president. Cyril Ramaphosa is amazing. And so when did you meet with the president? Oh, I've not met with him yet. Then how do you know he's amazing? From television? That's where we're seeing him. Anyway, so, all right. Let's see. Thanks for ventilators. You're welcome. Mention FDR. Yep, can hear. Oh, I'm way behind again. Do you have WhatsApp, Chris? I do have WhatsApp, Kyle. For those who might want to get, I don't want to put my phone number in here because then it sits there forever. But if you'd like to connect with me on WhatsApp, you can go to the About tab under my channel. Up on the top, it has videos and things. It has About. If you go to About, you scroll down below the description of the channel, you'll see my email. You have to click on a box, and I think you have to click a little check so that it shows that you're not a bot, and my email address will be revealed to you. Please take the email address, send me an email, and I will respond to you. That's my Gmail address. So I will respond to you if you want to. Someone's asked me to start an Africa WhatsApp group. here in the U.S. Someone who just lived in South Africa for 6 years and has been all over Africa, a business person, said, "Hey, you should start an Africa WhatsApp group." And I said, "Well, yeah, I'd like to, but I just really hadn't gotten around to it." So if there's interest, please go there and um, find my email address and send me a note, and then I'll be happy to touch base with you. So that's Kyle's question. Very Blueston says Groundhog Day was an excellent documentary. Do you mean my video? Or there's a movie called Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, or my documentary. Yeah, it took him 19 days to sober up after his prohibition. That's funny, Nicholas. Kyle says, "I so wish that was true, Chris." Yep. The Bruce says, "Well, you are a Franz Kronia fan, quote unquote." DM Chris White, if you compare South Africa to other African countries, who do you think is handling the virus better? Any info on the cure for Madagascar? Well, let's not get carried away on the cure for Madagascar. It's based on the Artemisia, one version of the Artemisia. Artemisia, of course, is a plant that's evolved in something known as artemedicine, which the Chinese have perfected as a malaria cure, malaria prophylaxis and treatment for it. It's actually very effective as a cure for malaria. It's one of the most promising drugs in the past 20 years for malaria, beyond the ones we had existing already. Like primaquine and chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, things like that. So the Chinese came up with this, and it's widely used in West Africa, and I believe in East Africa, but I can state for a fact it's used in West Africa. So I don't know if it's from the same family, but the name is very similar, and I suspect the Madagascans have taken this treatment for malaria, and they're using it to help develop some kind of concoction that limits the replication ability of the RNA of the virus, which is usually how antiretrovirals are successful. They block the virus from being able to lock on to other cells in your bloodstream. And if they can't lock on, they can't inject their information into your cell and then hijack your cells and make you sick. So they find ways to make them by putting this in your system, it coats your cells or something like that. There's different ways it happens. I'm trying to give a layman's perspective, but we don't know the efficacy of this. Although the South African government has announced that they would like to help the Madagascans develop this cure. Let's not put a lot of faith in that. I'm not dismissing it. There may be something to it, but we have no scientific evidence, no studies. Whereas with hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and zithromatch, we do have evidence from a French study back in February which proved the efficacy of it for early use of it for those who start to become sick before it gets throughout their bodies. It's been very effective. French are using it widely. And here in the States, in Arizona, the state of Arizona has been using it, and they said, SEC to the U.S. federal government and the Centers for Disease Control advised not to use it because they found that 91% of the patients who start to develop, who test positive for COVID-19 in Arizona, who are put on this regimen, do not get sick and are not transmitting to other people. So it has proven effective there. Now, there are other studies around the world taking place. I have hydroxychloroquine in my house. If I were to get sick, I will be taking hydroxychloroquine. It's an anti-malarial. We've had it for over 50 years. I've used it for decades in Africa, and I've fortunately never fallen prey to malaria. Now, that's a combination of good behavior on my part, good decisions, good hygiene, and also the prophylaxis. So I will take it. I got no objection. I'm not advising anyone to do anything. This is no advice. Don't run out and buy it. Don't do it. I'm just saying that that's what I will do. Lots of experience with it. It's been a good, safe. In this country, this is all politicized and become ridiculous. We have the Centers for Disease Control saying it's a dangerous medication and can only be administered in a hospital. That's a lie. That's a lie. It's required to have a prescription for hydroxychloroquine in the United States. You have to have a prescription. You can't just pick it up in the store like aspirin or ibuprofen or Tylenol. You can't just buy it off the shelf over the counter. You have to have a prescription. I understand in France before January, you could buy it over the counter, but now it's prescription. But here in the U.S., you did need to be in a hospital to be taking it because it is something that a small number of people can't take because of other underlying medical conditions. That has been distorted and lied about here in the United States. It's very frustrating, very, very, very frustrating. Let's see. They will, Rian says. Paulie says, evening all, and Chris. Well, hey, Paulie, nice to be able to tune in and watch from work. They say you're at work. Okay, I'm not going to ask what you're doing. I hope you're not watching an abattoir and make sure people are cutting the beef properly. Luckily, we're out on a run when the deputy president spoke. Deputy president, that's right. Waiting for you to come replace Banana Marks. Well, thank you, Paulie. Yeah, that's right. I did call her Banana Marks first. Yeah, and I think I'm one of the first people to start calling Cyril the deputy president behind President NDZ. But anyway. The Brew, I want to chat with you right now. I'd love to, but we can chat here, Brew, until I get cut off by the red ants again. If I do get cut off by the red ants, folks, that'll be the end stream. Don't look for another one. I'll stop. I may do a stream later this evening, but now it's already 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock in South Africa. I don't want to do it too late. So I'll debate that. But if I do want it, it'll be a few hours down the road. I need to go do some shopping and grab a few things, and also take a break for a little bit and probably shower. Yeah, I should probably shower before I head out. But anyway, yeah. So Neil Potgeider, welcome aboard. Good to see you. I know the chat's a little behind, but welcome. Sorry I didn't say something sooner. Kyle says, awesome dude. I'll send you an email. Okay. It's my alias I'm using here. Okay. Vihan Peters. Vihan, I'll be honest, that's a given name I'm not familiar with. I've never seen Vihan before. If I mispronounce it, my apologies, but I'm pronouncing it, I think it's correct, Vihan Peters. On education in South Africa, did you know that you need only 30%? Yeah, no. Well, yeah, okay, actually, you're stealing my thunder, Vihan. That's what I've been talking about in my videos, and I've been talking about for a long time, is that the matrix pass level has been lowered to 30%. This is shameful. And I was on a telephone call on Skype with Hugo Kruger, the French, or the Afrikaans speaking South African engineer who works in the energy industry in France. And we were talking about this, and I said, I don't want to be driving across the bridge that the structural engineer who got 30%, 32% math for his math score, and then went to Rhodes or UCT, and I don't want to be the person that has to ride on the bridge that that person builds. That's ridiculous. That's just window dressing. It's kind of like about a decade ago when the South African government suddenly decided not to report crime statistics because they were so horrendous. So for over a year, they simply stopped reporting crime statistics. Of course, they were sued for that because they have to be transparent, and that's a function of the government is report that information, which is necessary for a lot of people to do business and for a lot of other reasons in South Africa. So the ANC just likes to paper over things. Oh, yes, we have high pass rates because only 30% is the passing grade. Abysmal, abysmal, abysmal. Absolutely true. But thanks for sharing that, Vihan. Sean says, I'm crossing my fingers that the Western Cape revolts and the financial power players in the area just start. We'll see. The brew minus copious amounts of alcohol. Okay. Nicholas, the brew must have the same medical aid. Zach, welcome, Zach. Zach was talking to Sean. He says, I doubt Cape Townians will. They'll be like Vietnamese guy who was discovered 40 years later, still thinking the war was on. Well, I think you're talking about the Japanese soldiers. You know, famously, they found Japanese soldiers on remote islands in the South Pacific who were dumped there and given their orders and told to continue the mission. We had soldiers in the 1970s, and even the latest one, I think, was in the early 1980s, who was discovered, I think, in the Philippines, on a remote area of the Philippines, a Japanese soldier who had fought the war for 40 years. And the problem with some of these places, in places like the Philippines, is they would kill Filipinos, you know, because they thought the war was still on. And this would happen periodically. So, yeah, crazy stuff, though. Variable Vision says the lockdown is causing the diagnosis treatment for other diseases to fall far behind. That is correct. Tuberculosis, cancer, and other countries depend on us. Yep, absolutely true. This is one of the concerns I had, is that with this overemphasis and hysteria and hysterical conduct by governments around the world with COVID-19, here we see it in the States, we're seeing the numbers greatly inflated. People are being reported as having died from COVID-19 who've never even been tested from COVID-19, under pressure from state and local authorities to increase the numbers. Ostensibly, this is to make the situation look worse than it is, and or to get assistance from the federal government by crying, oh, we have 10,000 deaths, when actually you have about 3,800. But the other people who died, the one who was 97 years old and had stage 4 lung cancer and would have died within a matter of days from the lung cancer, test positive for COVID-19 or had an upper respiratory ailment when they died, a 97-year-old, and now without testing the person, you say, well, that's a COVID-19 death. That's the problem with this. This is being politicized, even by people in the medical community. This Dr. Fauci here in the United States, it seems like every other sentence out of his mouth is a political talking point for one side of the aisle or the other. It's very disturbing. I'm not trying to denigrate Dr. Fauci. He's an acclaimed and accomplished physician, 80 years old. I think he is 79, 80 years old. Very impressive career, but he is not helping the situation when he points out that he's giving the best advice. He's not giving the best advice. He's giving the best medical advice. Medical advice is only one piece of it. There's political roles in this, there's economic roles in this, there's social roles in this, and leaders must balance all of those. What we have in South Africa is complete hysteria by the African National Congress responding to the medical aspect of it while neglecting the rest of the medical community and the rest of the medical problems like TB, malaria, not so much South Africa, but a little bit, but especially HIV in South Africa. People with HIV need to go who have CD4 counts below the whatever the WHO's or not the WHO, the UNAIDS current level is. It fluctuates between 2 to 3 to 400 CD4 count. If it's currently say 300 and you have a 287 CD4 count, you need to go in and be checked periodically. You need counseling. You need to maintain your diet, properly administer your diet, and things like this, exercise. These things are not happening for a lot of people now, and their lives are being put in jeopardy because of the hysteria and the overreaction by government authorities around the world, particularly in South Africa. Absolutely ridiculous. Right. So where are we at here? Nicholas says, saw in the news, your dream as a benevolent dictator is nearer. Is hopefully vacating since the end of May. Oh, you're talking about Thomas Tabane, who is the Prime Minister of Lesotho. Yeah, May, that would be interesting. He was supposed to leave in July, so maybe there's pressure to get him out of office sooner. We shall see. Anyway, Rion's taking off. Hey, Rion, thanks for popping in and sticking with me, especially rejoining after the Red Ants cut us off. So thanks for coming in. Kyle says, I can't seem to find it on my mobile, so I think that's why I can't see it. Okay. Let me do this. I will type this in if I can get the window up. Let me get to my channel here, get the screen so I can type. I'm gonna make sure I put this on mute. Okay, I'm gonna type this into my window, and this is my, and I'm just gonna put that in there, okay? Because people scan things and they find, what, is it not? Is it not? I don't see it there. Okay. Why is, oh, there it is. Okay. Right. So I've put that in there. So I'll give that a second to float around so there's a little bit of a break between what I'm saying and what's in there. And okay, so here's the deal. What you see on the screen for me there is my username. And if you put at gmail.com, you can send me an email. Does that help you out, Kyle? I know mobile phones are a pain when you're trying to watch these streams. Very difficult. Nicholas, 30% pass rate. Yeah, lovely. You don't have to know 70% of your syllabus to progress. Absolutely true. Isn't that frustrating? Yep. Paulie says, do yourself a favor and go see Dr. Jonathan Vitt's tweets. Speaks exactly about the 2500 TB test. Yeah, okay, no, I'll have to do that. Jonathan Vitz, okay, I'll take a look at that. You got my name right, very similar to Wuhan. Okay, Vihan. Yeah, it is. I'm missing one letter there, Vihan. So, Vihan, I'm not familiar with you. Where are you from, if you don't mind sharing? Where do you live? You don't have to answer the question, but if you'd like to, go ahead. Maybe we'll talk about that instead of a random country off the map of Africa. The Bruce says, well, I have a bunch of ex-brothers in the U.S., and I always win the round by asking them to say, die Reebok Ram Riem in die Rita. Good God. Well, you probably won on mine, too. I found your email on your about and click on capture. Yep, there you go, Nicholas. Jesse Lopez. Hey, Jesse. Hey, seems there's absolutely nothing of interest happened here today. Oh, there was some sort of speech. Well, it was actually fantastic, Jesse. Honestly, for Doctor Who fans, it was amazing to see the regional sub-commander for the Dalek Empire in Southern Africa, one Cyril Ramaphosa, the secret Dalek, give his speech today. We are a consultative government, of course. We are transparent. We are keeping the public informed, and more lies from the Daleks. Exterminate, exterminate. Yeah, nothing really happened in South Africa today. That's absolutely true. Variable Vision gives a thumbs up for Jonathan Vitt. I will have to check into that. I'm sorry, but whenever I think of Vitt, I always think of Katarina Vitt. Sorry, that's just where my head goes. Katarina Vitt. What a heck of a skater and a very attractive lady. He's Roman's co-host. Yeah, okay, yeah. So, Paulie, Roman was supposed to get back with me. I guess he got busy and he keeps saying about talking to Jonathan Vitt, and I didn't know what he's talking about. I've only watched Renegade Reports on occasion, but the deal is that someone suggested that I should appear on Renegade Reports, have a podcast or a stream or something on there. And I wasn't really familiar with Renegade Report, so I looked it up, checked into it. I, of course, already knew who Rahman was, and I already subscribed to his channel, and I already appeared on his channel that one time on a call. So I wrote to Rahman and thanked him for letting me come on the program and the call. I told him I enjoyed it. He had positive things to say, but Rahman is slow in his emails. Anyway, and I mentioned that several people said I should go on there, and I said, well, because they told me that he was looking for content on the channel. I said, well, if you're looking for content, would you like a podcast? Are you looking for content creators? I might be interested. And I got the impression that they want potentially for me to have a channel or a stream or a podcast or something on their channel. And he was talking about getting with Jonathan Witt. So I don't know if they were discussing it. You know, we want this crazy, bearded American to be on our channel or not. I don't know. But anyway, I'm waiting to hear back from Ramon about whether, in fact, they want me on the channel or if they're just talking about me appearing on a program with the two of them. Anyway, when I do that, it'll be on my mobile, not on my Red Ants afflicted laptop. So let's see what else. Doctor Who, yeah, Doctor Who rocks, man. Yeah. Doctor Who's a woman now. Who knew? Talk about transgender. Well, not even transgender, just male to female. She's actually quite good. I loved her in Broadchurch. She was brilliant with the previous Doctor Who. Yeah, one of my favorite Doctor Who's of all time. Yep. And who was that? Anybody remember who that was? It was on Broadchurch, Doctor Who. The second one, Christopher Eccleston was the first modern Doctor Who. Who was the next one? Anyway, fantastic actor. He was also great in Jessica Jones. If you haven't seen that, that's brilliant. very on the first season, Jessica Jones. Um, Variable Vision, agreed, big time. He's tops this evening. He was on fire on Twitter. Okay. Yeah, Twitter. I have a love-hate relationship with Twitter, mostly a hate relationship with it, but I do follow it occasionally. Sean says Cyril doesn't know that there are lots of people that can count to 10 without using abacus. 500 feet without using GPS. Well, that would not be general officers in the South African National Defense Force who can't find their feet without a GPS because they can't see over their belly. Not all of them, but far too many of them. Vihan says he'll send me an email. Just email him. I'll get a bunch of emails. Roman is one of the best, if not the best, real deal guys on YouTube. Yeah, Roman's pretty good. It's Jodie Whittaker. There you go. Yep, she's pretty good. She's pretty good. And David Tennant, Nicholas, you guys are okay. We got some Doctor Who fans. David Tennant. Okay, my original all-time favorite when I was a kid was Tom Baker was the best Doctor Who, but that was because I was a kid and he was on, and so that's when I knew Doctor Who. But later, I really liked the second Doctor Who. Not John Pertwee. That was the third one, but the one before him, I'm drawing a blank right now. But he was my favorite for a long time. Little short guy. He was really good. But David Tennant, hands down, best Doctor Who ever. Even better than Tom Baker. Although Tom Baker really set the stage for that character. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Jodie Whittaker, yeah, she's pretty good as a Doctor Who. She's great whenever she acts in. She's just really talented actress. I hope she doesn't have some screwed up political views and she opens her mouth one day like most American actors. Well, climate change and everyone's a homophobe, and then I just lose interest in them because they just talk nonsense. But I've never heard her do that. So if she says that stuff, don't tell me about it because you'll ruin it for me. Yeah, let's see. You owe me a shot. Owe you a shot? What, for saying something at the same time, or for what I owe you for, Brew? Tell me what I owe you for. He was the Davros from the Tom Baker days, Doctor Who, the Dalek leader. Yeah. Okay. He's very sharp and astute, old Roman. Roman, certainly getting a niche in real news. Hey, Roman, when it comes to his YouTube channel, I didn't know who he was, but I saw the three Amibros, and of the two that weren't Ronaldo, I found him to be the most appealing from that one Three Amigos program I watched, rather than Germ. So I went there and I checked him out, and then I called in the one day because some people in the chat were saying you should have the Colonel call in, and I guess he had seen me in the chat window, Ronaldo, so it wasn't out of the blue, and so I called in. Roman's program is pretty good. But when I started watching it just a few weeks ago, he had 2,800 subscribers on YouTube. He's got over 6,000 in just like 2 or 3 weeks later, folks. That's quite a few. Very impressive gain. I've gone from 31 to over 500. Thank you for those who subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, I'm here e-begging now. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you find the content remotely interesting. I have 3 approaches to this. I do a regularly scheduled live stream every Saturday, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the U.S., 5 o'clock in Johannesburg, 4 o'clock in Abuja and in Accra, 3 o'clock in Monrovia. So I do that every Saturday now. That's the intent, and I have a guest speaker. The last 3 speakers, the first 3 were Jeff Rodriguez, the program manager for Dying Corps, who worked for me in Liberia when we rebuilt the Armed Forces Liberia well over a decade ago. Second one was Evans Larrabee, who's a small-scale commercial farmer based in Ghana, and we talked about the challenges of agriculture in Ghana and land tenure, an issue that is of interest to South Africans. And then the third one was Ovigwe Egu, who's a Nigerian security specialist. We talked about a host of things related to security, the obvious things like Boko Haram, the oil bunkering, terrorism. But we also talked about the heart of herders and pastoralist conflict and the importance of remittances to economic issues, Chinese medical diplomacy, things like that. So this weekend, I'm hoping to have Wilhelmine, who is a urban shepherd, who takes sheep into urban centers in the Netherlands, and to talk about that. That sounds kind of esoteric, but it's quite a fascinating topic. I think if you're able to tune in this Saturday, it should be enjoyable. I've just got to confirm with her that we're going to do it, but right now that's the plan for Saturday. So I do these regularly scheduled once a week live streams. Then I also do prepared videos all the time. Most of them are serious videos with genuine research put into them, offering solutions, not simply complaining about issues, although some are complaints. And I've also taken to making a few spoofs and political satire ones here and there. If Ramaphosa had not appeared today, I've already written a script that I was going to do tomorrow for a video and do a breaking news story with a that kind of news coming in. Breaking news, officials, family members, and the opposition party have approached the South African Police Service to report the disappearance of one Cyril Ramaphosa. And I had a whole script for it, but he made an appearance today, so his missing. I actually printed out a milk carton label. I was going to put it on a can because we don't have milk cartons. If there's no milk, they're dumping the dairy. I was going to put a milk carton label out here, and have you seen this person? Be careful. He's elderly. He's a septuagenarian, 67 years old. We're concerned about his mental health and his welfare. Last seen 3 weeks ago in the midst of the coronavirus. Very concerned. Anyway, so I've done this whole political satire, but then Ramaphosa shows up today, and out the window goes my video. So I do the serious research ones, typically 10 minutes, sometimes up to 20 minutes or longer, depending on the complexity of the topic. I did one on the Namibian beef industry, being the first country in Africa to successfully export beef to the United States. It took 18 years to negotiate. Talked about the whole issue about it. Also, Namibian Independence Day celebration, Zimbabwe Independence Day celebration, South Africa's Freedom Day. And so I do videos like that, and I have things like intellectual property and the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. So across the whole spectrum, covering Africa, with a big focus on South Africa, because I've had a growing South African audience, and I'm grateful. So thank you all for tuning in for that. So those are and then I have stray voltage, which is what this is. Stray voltage is zapping you from out of nowhere, in which topic comes up, or I just go online because I figure with lockdown, people in the U.S. and in Africa are bored and looking for something to do, something to listen to, and a lot of people seem to be interested in what I have to share, and so I like the interaction. So stray voltage, regularly scheduled stream on Saturdays, and then the prepared videos that go out with no schedule on those. So that's kind of what my channel is about. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel and be sure to push that icon to get notifications so that you're aware of when my videos come up and my live streams. And then finally, I do like comments. I read all comments, positive and negative. If they're abusive, I'm just going to ignore them. So there's no point in that. Also, if you make abusive comments, actually, as the owner, I can take those off. So why bother? But if you have something to contribute, whether you agree or disagree with something in the video, feel free to do it. That's what discourse is all about. And when you have discourse amongst people and we talk to each other, not at each other, things get better. It just works that way, folks. Trust me, it really does. Lived all over the world. So that's, and the other thing is, please smash that like button. Everybody, it's not just an ego trip. It's about getting more viewers to watch the content, because the more likes you have as a percentage of views, the higher propensity from the algorithm for YouTube to take your video and put it on someone's YouTube channel when they come out and go, oh, what's this? And check it out. So it's not just to stroke an ego. I don't need that. My ego's been stroked enough over the years. None of us want to be disliked, but it's not about likes and dislikes. Although on Ronaldo's channel, you can almost guarantee that there's a few trolls who've gone on before he's even aired a video and said they dislike it. So you got to love that stuff. Anyway, so back here. So back to the comments. Patrick Troughton. That's the guy. Thank you, Nicholas. Patrick Troughton. Yes, he was my favorite doctor for a long time. I really liked him with his little recorder singing and his goofy suit. Of course, all doctors have goofy suits. But anyway, what did you think of the Twilight Zone original, not the new remake? The Twilight Zone original was brilliant, Kyle. The original one from back in the day, I think was the first episode ever, the one that had William Shatner in it, where he was on a plane and there was like some abominable snowman on the wing of the plane and only he could see it. It drove him nuts. I thought the original Twilight Zone was brilliant with Rod Serling. Oh, amazing stuff. I don't watch the new stuff. No, that's not of interest to me. Kyle agrees, or Paulie agrees with Kyle. Variable Vision says, Big Daddy Liberty and Conscious Caracal are also excellent. Yeah, I've just recently started listening to Conscious Caracal, and I've never listened to Big Daddy Liberty. I'll have to check that out. If you had a super chat, I would send you some. Well, Kyle, thank you. That's very kind of you. It's not necessary, but it's very appreciated if I had a super chat. Well, you can't have super chats unless you have a monetized channel. I don't have a monetized channel. One, because I had considered it. That wasn't the purpose of the channel initially. Although with the money I'm spending buying microphones and dividers and lighting kits and things like that, it is starting to take a little bite out of my retirement check from the Army here. So I would use that money to put it to good use to provide for things like that. But once you monetize a channel, which allows advertising and you can charge for video viewing and you can have members that join and pay for a monthly fee, and then you give special privileges like Ronaldo does. I'm a member in his channel. And then you can also take super chats, which is brilliant. I think that's a really great way to support a channel. I don't have super chats right now. When I get to the threshold where I can monetize, I will be able to do that if you would like to super chat, and it would be more than wonderful. Thank you for that. But I'm not soliciting it. I'm not begging for it. But I will say this is that one of the reasons why I do want to get monetized is because I have a consultancy which is doing no business right now. I lost about $7,000 of business in April that I wasn't able to do because of the COVID-19 and cancellations. I was supposed to teach at one of our national intelligence agencies about Africa. I lost a gig there, and that cost me a lot of money. Hopefully that will be lifted, and I'll be able to resume and do that teaching at some point, get that money back as a contractor. And also a couple other things. I was supposed to testify before Congress, and then I wasn't called to testify because they did it remotely, and because it was remotely, they cut the number of people that were going to testify. So that was on China and Africa. Wasn't getting paid for that, but it helps spread the word of mouth about your business. And then the other thing is I was supposed to participate in a debate on counterterrorism and human rights in Minneapolis. I actually did that by distance, but we did it for 1 hour, and it was with the Centers for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS in DC. If you look up CSIS, go under the Africa section. They have a tab for regions at the top, and you can find that stream, which was from last Monday, and check it out. But the reason I wanted to monetize my channel is because I have a consultancy, and I had always planned my consultancy to have hats. I have this logo that I designed for Indaba Africa, going far across Africa together. And I think it's a pretty cool logo. I was going to make T-shirts and hats, and then have those available to give away to clients, but also to try to spread interest in the consultancy. So I was going to use my YouTube channel. Is always the plan all along, is to kind of, that's why I label it Indaba Africa, but it's kind of a mix of Indaba Africa and Chris right at this point. So the idea was to eventually sell my merchandise, make it available on the channel. I have already been designing merchandise with some vendors, and the cost. So I'm trying to do US, made in USA, even if I ship stuff to Africa to people in, say, in Uganda or South Africa using DHL who want the stuff. I wanted to use US made stuff, not Chinese stuff. Not because I hate China, but because I'm trying to support America. But the American stuff is 60 to 90 to 100% more expensive than the Chinese stuff. Gee, I wonder why we buy the Chinese crap. Well, anyway, I'll make a decision. But I want quality material, quality coffee mug, quality hat. The hat's the most important thing to me, to have the hat, because people like hats. And then maybe the T-shirt. But the T-shirts are always challenging. Extra large, large. You just buy one or two sizes. I'm not going to buy smalls, because how many 6-year-olds are going to wear it? Anyway, so that was why I wanted to monetize. But if you get monetized, then you can do super chats. So in order to be monetized, you have to have 1,000 viewers and 4,000 hours of viewing content. So if I get to that stage, and it looks like I'm getting there, maybe um, I will do that. Not pulling. No, 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 bro. No, 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 no. That's not a Ronaldo. Maybe some things you can say that I do are similar to Ronaldo, but selling the hats, that's in his sec thing. That's his thing. I had that idea over a year ago. I designed my logo while I was still in active duty, and had a Bangladeshi design it for me using Fiverr, and I can show you the dates. But that had been a long-term plan for several years. But of course, I couldn't do that when I was serving active duty. So that was my intent. Anyway. No, it's not. So Ronaldo, because he's had this channel, he's been doing this. No, I'm not copying Ronaldo. Not at all. Let's see. Okay. You have the Socrates look down, considering the next live stream with robes. Yeah, this is really starting to look like Socrates, and I was some ancient Greek philosopher here with the curls and everything. You know, it's funny because my hair hasn't been as long since I was a freshman at university in 1982. But when I was a freshman at university in 1982, my hair didn't do this. It would be straight. I had it down to my shoulders. Had to think of. But now I don't know what is it exposure to radiation from Chernobyl in Europe when I was there? Is it eating prions from British beef? Give me mad cow disease that did this. Is it being too close to depleted uranium rounds in combat with the army fighting against the Republican Guard? I'm not so sure. But now I have curly hair. But the good news, folks, and this is what matters. This is all me. No rug. This is natural. This is my hair. And thank goodness for the DNA on the maternal, paternal side, wherever it came from, to make sure that I did not get male pattern baldness. I'm not taking for granted, but I'm very happy that it's all still there. I can be purple for all I care. I don't care what the color is. You can always dye hair as long as it's there. Because I've seen myself bald. I went to basic training and they shave your head. Not a pretty sight. We'll pass on that look. Anyway, yeah, so I got the Socrates look going. I don't know why my hair is so curly. And even when I wash it, I go wash it and I put some gel in it because it's so long now, it'll start curling after a short period of time. Just crazy stuff. Anyway, yeah, there you go. That California surfer look. There you go. I just got to dye it blonde. All right. Let's see what else. You and Dr. Anthea Jeffries having a chat about, I don't know, who is Dr. Anthea Jeffries? Wow, I show my ignorance here. I don't know who that is. If someone could share that with me, pay to see that, Kyle says. Does she have a different view on history, or we have a similar view? Is she some leftist that's got some crazy stuff? It looks like I'm getting washed out. I'm going to step up for a second. And yes, I do have pants on. Hang on. Okay. There we go. So now it's darker. The sun was shining in here and really washing me out. So that's a little bit better. Yeah. Okay. I pay to see that. Chris, your take on Taiwan and China relations. Would America step in if they engage with you? Well, yeah, Taiwan, despite the fact that we've changed our status and recognized Beijing a long time ago as the legitimate government under James Earl Carter, we recognized mainland China as the legitimate government to represent China. We still have close ties to Taiwan. We take these really strange diplomatic steps. For instance, we have a Taiwanese student who comes to the War College each year. We have one from there each year, and the Taiwanese student is forbidden from wearing his military uniform. So he attends our War College as a military officer from the Taiwanese forces, but does so as if he's a civilian. It's ridiculous, but that's how we do things. So we don't upset the apple cart. Do we have any Chinese officers? No, we don't. So why? If we had Chinese officers, one might be able to understand why you're trying not to upset the apple cart and offend the Chinese because they're present at the War College. But we don't have the Chinese present at the War College. So what's this all about? Anyway, but that's just one example. We sell sophisticated weaponry to the Taiwanese. We also play a role in patrolling the South China Sea to ensure that the island of Formosa is protected. So I'm not so sure what the answer on that is, and it depends on who the president is. But I suspect we would take a very hard line, and I don't think China will make any steps to try to militarily intercede in Taiwan as long as the U.S. doesn't publicly come out and say that they would favor such action, which isn't going to happen. All right, I'll buy your hat. The brew will buy my hat. Okay, much rather than another politician. I need a haircut. Yeah, I do need a haircut. Probably a beard shave too. I'm starting. Am I looking like a gray beard? You know, that's the phrase because most places I served in as an officer, even though I was young, even when I was younger, in uniform, particularly in Africa, because you go to Africa, oftentimes most of the State Department people who work in the embassy are very young because it's a first tour for them. No one wanted to go to Togo or to Ivory Coast. They'd much rather go to Switzerland or to Canada or somewhere like that. So you wind up with first or second tour foreign service officers, and even as a major, I typically was one of the oldest people in an embassy, even though I was young. So oftentimes you're known as the graybeards. Well, actually, I am a graybeard, so I really am feeling that role. And the reference to Socrates, that was interesting. So anyway, yep, but I do need a haircut. The haircut won't occur until the lockdown is over here. The beard might come off sooner. I was growing the beard for that debate that I participated in with the CSIS. And now that's over, but I haven't cut it. So I probably will cut it sometime soon. We'll see, or at least go to a Van Gogh instead of just the full beard. Oh, and if I get rid of the Van Gogh, I'll keep the Fu Manchu mustache going for a little bit longer. So probably this will come off, then this will come off, and then the mustache will eventually come off. We'll see what happens. Oh, she's from the Institute for Race Relations. Well, she's from the Institute for Race Relations since she probably got her head screwed on straight. If anybody knows her and wants to mention my name to her, feel free to do that. I'll see if I can find her on LinkedIn. I might even be linked to her from my knowledge. I have like approaching 10,000 connections on LinkedIn and a lot of people from a lot of different fields of study. So I'm not sure who they all are. Ronaldo, buy your hat, need a haircut. I'll buy your coffee mug. I have a fat head and the hat will fit, Nicholas. Yeah, the coffee mug's a challenge because my logo has several colors in it. You can see in the upper top portion of the screen up there above my head, straight up there. If you look up there, that's actually my logo. Let me zoom that up so that people can see it better. And it has multiple colors, which is the problem. So this is my logo I designed for my consultancy right there. So I'll put it up there, just a shameless self-promotion there. That's the logo, not the little green and blue stripe in the bottom there, but the Indaba Africa Group going far together across Africa. And you see that it's in yellow, green, black, and blue. Well, having four colors makes it a real challenge to get this on a coffee mug because they only go with two or three colors usually, but two or three colors don't come out so well. So I'm just trying to figure out what the best approach for this is. I'm still working on it. We'll see if I have success or not. Hey, time for a little bit more promotion here. Let me slide this over. For those of you who are new to the channel or just tuning in, or even if you already subscribed and haven't gone to it, listen, you missed out on a really good deal. Last Friday, May 8th, here on my channel, Chris White Africa, we live streamed Giselle's album debut for her new album, Films Mensa, which is right here on our channel. That was Friday night. That concert was an hour long, an hour and 3 minutes. You can still watch it. Just go and look it up under my live streams. And it's also promoted as a top video right now on my site as one that I'm trying to get people to watch. For those who don't know her, Giselle is from Namibia. She's an Afrikaans speaker. And she grew up in Hoedfontein. And interesting fact, a little trivia. Her best chum growing up in school, who she knew from Hoedfontein and went to school with, is Beate Prinsloo. Now, most of us don't know who Beate Prinsloo is, but if we mention the fact that she's a Victoria's Secret runway model, a number of folks, probably even the men, will notice that name, Beate Prinsloo. Now, almost everybody will recognize when I mention who Beate Prinsloo's husband is, and her husband is one Adam Levine from Maroon 5. So if you want to be just 4 degrees of separation from Adam Levine of Maroon 5, tune in, watch Giselle's concert on my channel. Go ahead and get the numbers up because it's really great spreading the word about Giselle, who sings brilliantly in Afrikaans. But that'll get you from to Chris Wyatt to Giselle to Beate Prinsloo to Adam Levine. You'll be just 4 degrees of separation from Adam Levine. There you go if you want to do that. But listen, her concert's fantastic. Her song Sudvest about Namibia, her song about South Africa, Philins Mensa. Oh, brilliant stuff, really good stuff. She sings country and pop. It's a mix of the two. The stuff in the beginning, for some people, it's not to their taste. It's kind of a little bit the hokey songs. Maybe that's not fair to Giselle, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. But the songs she sings later on, she does a song about going parachuting, jumping out of a plane, which is fantastic. It really gets you up and bouncing around. But please tune in and watch her concert. It's free. Unlike other artists who are charging, Giselle agreed and asked to come on my channel and agreed to do it for free of charge. No copyright strikes, no copyright claims. Her music played live on my channel. Well, now it's recorded, but it's fantastic. She did a live concert from her residence in Pretoria. Her manager, Johan Eisel, put this together. Fantastic cinematography using videos they already have, plus her live in front of a green screen. And yes, it was a green screen. Johan sent me a picture minutes before we went live showing me the green screen behind her with the camera projected towards it. But she did a brilliant job, has an amazing voice, and a lot of people who are from South Africa or Afrikaans speakers quickly picked on, wait a second, is she from Namibia? I guess people didn't see my promotion for it. Yes, she's from Namibia. My question is, how do you know that? Well, because she doesn't have, her accent is strange. She has a strange accent. Yeah, she has a very different accent. Others said she sounds like she's from the Northern Cape. Well, she also lived in Northern Cape early in her life as well. So she has a different Afrikaans accent, which, no offense for those of you in South Africa, but for me, listening to an Afrikaner from Namibia, or even from Botswana speak Afrikaans, is far easier for me to keep up with them because their pronunciation is a lot clearer for me. I understand. It's far easier for me to understand. So Giselle, an up-and-coming Namibian/South African musician who sings brilliantly, absolutely free on my channel. Go check it out. You'll enjoy the stream. And I'll tell you what, I made this offer before on Ronaldo's program when we mentioned this, when I did some shameless promotion of it. I will tell you what, if you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. Yeah, I know it's free, so there's no money to get back. If you're paying for data, that's not on me. I'm just saying you can watch the video for free. Anyway, it's pretty cool, so check it out and hopefully share it with your friends, share it with your family, anybody. She also sings a couple songs in English. She has a country album that's in English. I'm not a country music fan, but it's really good. So there's something for everyone, English on Afrikaans. She has a truly stunning voice, lovely lady, very beautiful, and quite an appealing performer. So check it out. Philins Mensa, the Lockdown concert live stream on my channel. Okay, so Kyle says, brilliant singer. You agree. Lucy says, Big Daddy Liberty lost his stuff about SA today. I think we're all in danger. I believe him. Well, I will have to check out Big Daddy Liberty because people keep mentioning Big Daddy Liberty. That's one I don't know. And see if he lost his stuff. Yeah. Kyle says, have you ever thought of live streaming news events in Africa so you can break it down easy for people to understand? I've done prepared video. I'm doing a podcast, actually. I have a podcast, a weekly podcast I do now, which hasn't gotten a lot of attention because I haven't really tried. Also, the site I'm hosting it on sucks. They're limiting the amount of time I get. They didn't propose. They said it was free, that they made money off your podcast. You could host free, but it turns out I only get so many hours. So I'm looking for a new venue to put my podcast, and potentially that will be a Renegade Report, in which I'll talk about news about Africa, defense, security, economics. So yeah, I could do a live stream about news across Africa, but I've been doing prepared videos focused on specific countries. I find that I seem to get more people tune in who are interested in a specific country rather than just do Africa. But I would consider that. That's I just got to get the audience, Kyle. Just got to get the audience. So Hank, hey, welcome. Where are the rugby scarves normally hanging in the backdrop? The scarves are down because this was a stray voltage live stream, and also after about 50 scarves, I'm running low, and I have to recycle and use ones I've used previously. But I think I have a scarf nearby. I could hang one up if people really need a scarf. But yeah, the scarves, thank you for noticing. But I am wearing a rugby jersey, not a jersey, but a sweatshirt. This is from the Sevens in Las Vegas. This was the last Sevens in Las Vegas. 10 years they did it there for HSBC 7 Series. And so I wore this, but may need to wash it soon. Let's see, what did he say? Oh, okay. Yes, our live stream was amazing. Whose live stream? Is Big Daddy Liberty a woman? Did I miss something? Oh, he was pissed. Okay. Lucy says, DM says, if you know where Rundu is, I am subscribed for life. Great content. Enjoy your day. Okay, take care, DM. Thanks. I'll check it out. Rundu. Nicholas says, I'll post the concert link on Twitter and asked to watch Unreached. Okay, great. Thanks, Nicholas. Really appreciate that. Yeah, you guys feel free to share the link to my channel on Twitter, on Facebook, anywhere you want. Giselle is on Facebook and it was also streamed live on Facebook as well as my channel. But feel free to share that link. The more it's shared, the more likely. See, the thing is, when it comes to musicians, it just takes one break. You can have very talented musicians that the world never knows about. So let me give you an example of two people who popped up, and I mentioned on Ronaldo's show, and that's Referenza. Those who know him, he sings in Afrikaans, and a lot of people look at him and wouldn't guess he speaks in Afrikaans, but that would be biased because there are about 190,000 Black South Africans whose first language is Afrikaans. Yes, there are. These are folks who work with Afrikaners or fought with Afrikaners against the Ndebele and such, or communities that were near Afrikaans speaking communities and adopted Afrikaans. Anyway, so Referenza was famously singing on the side of the road one day, just, probably had a cup out trying to make money. And this woman pulled up and she's like, wow, that's a beautiful voice. Who's singing that? She looks out, this black guy singing Afrikaans, he's amazing. And she introduced his content to someone, and suddenly he got a contract. He sings on the Corona concert series now, and he's got his own. He's very talented. And then also Elandre, who's from the Eastern Cape, not KZN. Elandre also recorded his own song and put it on Facebook, I think, or YouTube, and it just caught fire, and now he's also a famous artist. Giselle's amazing. She deserves that opportunity as well, and hopefully she'll get that opportunity, and people know about her. She sang with Hoffmeyer in the past, and she sings country music, as I mentioned, but also pop. So we'll see what happens to Giselle. But please share that widely as much as you'd like. Her manager would be grateful for that, and I'd be very grateful for it too. I'm also trying to potentially get some more concerts on here. I'm in discussion trying to talk to an artist in Botswana who's kind of known in South Africa about appearing on here, at least for an interview, if not a song or two for a concert. I'm trying to do that free to my viewers. And I've also, I don't know if I'll get a response back, but I've reached out to Bobby Wine in Uganda, asking if I can get him on to be interviewed. Since he's a parliamentarian there as well as a pop musician, a rapper, maybe I can get him on and we can talk about politics in Uganda. So no promises on that, but I guess I'm becoming sort of a pseudo music promoter here. Hey, why not? It's lockdown. We're trying to get things done. We'll see. Maybe I can get some comedians to come on too. But anyway, so you hear something other than just me talking. Lucy says, Twitter, can't see anything on his channel except, oh, okay. It's great of you, Nicholas. Kyle, no problem, dude, just a few seconds. Lucy says, vlog 27, the commies are now telling us what to wear. Yeah, they are. Yeah, no, it's hilarious. Patel tells us that you can't purchase bikinis, I guess because South Africa is going into winter now. So why would you need a bikini? Well, because you have a pool in your backyard, right? Can't you use your pool? I don't know, maybe. Or maybe you use a bikini to sit in your hot tub or your jacuzzi at home. But you're not allowed to buy bikinis. And so I famously did my video earlier, or maybe not so famously, in which I asked the question, if you can't buy bikinis in South Africa, are you allowed to buy bikini briefs? Minister Patel, please tell us, can we buy bikini briefs? Anyway, and so the question now is, here in the U.S., is that going to be something we have to worry about? Will it be boxers or briefs? What can I buy? It's these totalitarians, and they're running amok, stealing liberty from people, taking people's rights away. And if you question it, you're a heretic and you're shunned by the political left anyway. It's just insane. And it's not just in South Africa, folks, although it's far worse in South Africa, but it's also here in the U.S. and other places. Jesse says, I saw the concert. I'm glad you helped with the platform. As a musician myself, I can testify that many are now without job. Jesse, you're a musician. Ah, Jesse Lopez is a musician. Really? Are you a singer? Or you play an instrument? Do you sing? And are you any good? Should we consider getting you on my channel as well? Would you do a concert on here for us, Jesse? Maybe we can go into negotiations on that one. Anyway, but thank you for this comments. Yeah, it was really my pleasure to promote Giselle. Just to give you an idea, so I came across her because I listen to Afrikaans. I listen to all kinds of music. I listen to rap. I listen to classical, pop, mostly pop, but I listen to Afrikaans and German music, and even French music. So I was going across videos on YouTube, and I saw this suit vest, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So I clicked on it, and it's a very stirring song. Like, this is amazing. So I looked her up, and I couldn't find a website anywhere. There weren't any Google search terms. I'm like, she must be relatively new. But that video is actually from a few years ago. So I actually found a link to her on Facebook. I went to Facebook, and on the side, it said, you can now contact Giselle through WhatsApp. So I sent a WhatsApp to her contact, and it turns out it's her manager. And he was fascinated. So he wrote back to me, and we had a few conversations. We called, talked back and forth, and he was fascinated about my interest in Afrikaans music. I directed him to the article that I wrote about Afrikaans music on my LinkedIn account a couple years ago. And from there, he asked me to come onto his television station and be interviewed at some point a few months later this year as he's preparing their Afrikaans network. Anyway, he asked me to come on there, but also he proposed, he asked me if I could, because Giselle wanted to come on my channel and do the live stream because they were planning to do the album debut. Originally, Giselle was supposed to do concert series in South Africa and Namibia, and then also come to the U.S. She had performances in Dallas, New York, and somewhere else. I can't remember where, but that all got canceled by COVID-19. And he decided to go ahead with the album launch anyway, and so they did it online, and we hosted it. It was my pleasure. So yeah, my pleasure for doing that, Jesse. Happy to do it. Um, Nicholas did his homework regarding who owns the most land. I understand the reasoning why now, but I'm not going to steal your thunder. I can't wait for the stream. All right, yeah, we'll talk about that, Nicholas. Thanks. That'll be on the expropriation without compensation discussion Sunday on Ronaldo Ho's Sunday service. No, it's not a religious service, but rather kind of a news service and discussion service. Kyle says, "Have you seen the documentary How to Steal a Country and the Zuma Dynasty?" I have not. I got three of these. I got these AfriForum videos that people are asking me to watch. The one on Tainted Heroes, the other one on land loss or something like that. Um, I will take a look at that one. But I mean, I'm deeply hip deep. I was working in intelligence agencies when Zuma was stealing the country, so I'm very familiar with what was going on contemporaneously when it happened, and also now. So. I'll probably learn some things. We all learn things if we have an open mind, but I've not been rushed to watch it as I'm trying to take care of business during the lockdown here. So, which is you think I have lots of time, right? Well, yes and no. Anyway, I will check it out though. Poliska, Foco Poliska. I don't know that word in Afrikaans, but all right. I have a pool. It was 15 degrees, 59. I got a bit drunk, went for a swim. Yeah. What about the polar bear club? Those people that jump into the ice every winter, in their bikinis. No thanks. It's amazing lyrics, absolutely brilliant. Oh, that okay. That must be a group, or is that okay? Tina here is brutal. Yeah, yeah. But I've heard some comments to the other side saying that there's some inaccuracies with it, so I need to watch it and make the assessment for myself. Didn't know a few things that opened up their eyes, all from watching the video. Yeah, no, it's Tina Heroes. I think is the one that shows footage of Cyril Ramaphosa back when he was a organized labor leader in the early 1990s and out there, and the IFP and the ANC was fomenting conflict with the IFP, and they were killing each other, necklaces and such. I think that's the video you're talking about. Now, I'm well aware of the conduct of Cyril Ramaphosa and also his role as a lead negotiator for the ANC at the CODESA, the Convention for Democratic South Africa that took place in the early 1990s, which allowed for the negotiated settlement and a peaceful end to apartheid. Well, relatively peaceful, except for what was happening in KZN and the aborted attempt by the Afrikaner Weerstandsbeweging I'm pronouncing that wrong because I used the German pronunciation at the end, but the AWB, who famously tried to roll into Bophuthatswana, and then the guys in the Mercedes were executed in cold blood by Bophuthatswana police forces. Yeah, that kind of killed the right-wing insurgency that was projected to take place in the run-up to the 94 elections and democracy in South Africa. So there you have it. Jesse's a systems engineer by trade and a multi-instrumentalist. Haven't done a concert or played live since 96, but lately been stuck at home playing. All right, well, cool. That's interesting. I have absolutely zero musical talent. I have no creative concept in my mind. I couldn't come up with a creative thing if I tried. I have no talent. I have no talent as an artist. I can't sing. I did play the drums. I was percussionist when I was a young kid learning the drums, but I couldn't play them. I had a hard time reading sheet music. I didn't understand it. It was confusing to me. And the people who were trying to teach it to me weren't explaining it very well, or I wasn't very bright, one of the two. But I have absolutely no talent. In fact, I detest karaoke. And I've only ever done karaoke once because I think it's a crime against music by most people. And that was when I was in Germany for a conference a couple years ago. And I was the Graybeard. And I went there while still serving to interview people about a book that I was participating in, a book project I wrote a chapter in on building partner capacity in Africa. So I interviewed people from all over the continent who were at this Security Cooperation Conference in Germany, and people I'd known for years, like, "Hey, Colonel White, you got to come out to the bar tonight. Come out, come out, come out. It's karaoke night." I'm like, "Oh God, karaoke." And I went, and I watched people sing karaoke, and I was like, "That actually looks kind of cool." I had a couple of Vites in. I'm like, "Okay, maybe I'll do it." So what I did is I went through the catalog and I found a couple of German songs I knew from the 1980s, which I really loved, and I put my name in. It took a long time, like over an hour before they finally got to me. And then I sang, and it was awesome because I had a German accent and the Germans were going crazy. I don't know the lyrics off the top of my head, so I'll just do it as best I can. Die Welt ist der Bloßding, abends zum Treiben. Wie Spanien angeht, wie Spanien an. Wir waren nur Freunde und wollten so bleiben. Anyway, so it's a song by what's his name now? I can't think of it now. It's 1001 Nights. Klaus Lager, the Klaus Lager band, and it's 1001 Nacht Zoom. It was a huge song in Germany back then. It's fantastic. Anyway, so I did it, and I did a couple more, and it's the only time I've ever done karaoke because I cannot sing. It is a crime against. Now I could sing before puberty. I was in the church choir and used to sing every Sunday in church when I was a young boy. And then a little thing called puberty happened, and my voice got stuck somewhere between the high pitched, childish sound and not quite deep enough to be Steve Hofmeyer. And so I don't really have a good voice, so I can't sing. I like to sing, but it usually is great for pest control, scaring away rodents, also scaring away the cats that chase rodents. So you don't want me to sing. Unfortunate, but that's just the way life goes. So Kyle says halfway through it turned towards the early '90s violence. I went through it in the army. Yeah. Gotcha, Nicholas. Hey, you were in KZN, I think, back in that time. Lucy says yes, it was hectic, but I reckon we were in for something much worse than that, and that's saying something. Yep. Oh, Kyle's going to say something, but he did the Chris White and hit the carriage return too fast. So anyway, yeah, folks. Well, this started out as a roast of Cyril Ramaphosa. Again, on the menu tonight, we didn't have kudu. We ran out of kudu, so we decided to roast Cyril. Cyril Ramaphosa, the gentleman who stood before us today, finally, after being gone, it was like a where's Waldo moment. Where is Cyril? We've been looking for Cyril for 3 weeks, failing to address the nation. He comes out and simply reiterates the same nonsense that he shared with folks 3 weeks ago, with some minor updates, and then outlandish claims about how the ANC government, the government of South Africa, is transparent and how it shares information with the public. I don't know what government he's talking about, but that is certainly not the government that we've seen in the midst of the Wuhan coronavirus or COVID-19 during the course of 2 months of lockdown in South Africa since March 27th. Not sure what he's talking about. But the fact that it takes him 3 weeks to come out, and then we have the head of state, reminding us to wash our hands and how to wash our hands. This is something you teach your children when they're toddlers and young children. We don't need the head of state doing this. Take someone from the health ministry, get them out, do public service announcements, put them on the radio, put them on television as a public service announcement to remind people. Don't put the head of state out there telling us how to wash our hands. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's beyond embarrassing. And once again, I of course made the correlation between the animated speaking ability of President Ramaphosa and the Daleks, making a comparison that there's not much difference. So, is Cyril Ramaphosa the sub-commander for the Dalek Empire in Southern Africa? One has to wonder. So Vihan Peters is taking off. Hey, Vihan, thanks for hanging around as long as you did. Appreciate it. I don't know. I will go a little bit longer here, probably 13 minutes or so, unless people drop off quickly, because I need to go do some shopping before the shop shut down and get a few things for my sad lawn. Anyway, I may pick up some food. I'm getting kind of hungry. But yeah, Vihan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. If you are, then I didn't get the notification that you're a subscriber. I don't get all of them. So I try to thank people when I get the subscriptions. But let's see what else. Lucy says, hectic. Everyone's logging off. Oh, he's logging off. Yeah. What do you know the show Dinner for One? I don't know that show, Kyle. I'm not familiar with that. Vihan Peters, cheers, bud. Chris, it's crazy in Germany. They watch it every New Year's. Oh, is that the Dinner for One show they watch every New Year's? Traditional for them. No, I'm not familiar with it. Not Vihan, good night, Buddha. Now, I can read. I can't pronounce it, but it's just good night, brother. Chris, wait, Zoom is on tomorrow. I think she will enlighten us. Oh, Lucy, so the president will be on tomorrow. This was just a trial run. The deputy president speaking to the country tonight. President Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma will be speaking tomorrow, according to Lucy. That should be entertaining. We shall see. Yeah. So you can attribute banana marks to me for Lana Marks and Deputy President NDZ, which is what I've been calling her for some time now. From the moment that she contradicted President Ramaphosa and she said that smokes would not be allowed. And of course, we know why that is, right? Now, I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I'm not going to play the fantastic music produced by Max Hurl, in which he plays down her actual words, because people zol. And when they zol, they put the saliva on the papers. And when they zol, they share that zol. Brilliant stuff. Don't want a copyright strike. But anyway, please check out Max Hurl's video on Zol, ZOL, about the cigarette ban, transposing Nkosazana Zazana Dalai Mizuma's actual words about the cigarette ban into his music. Fantastic stuff. Good club vibe, great club music that is. And he got a contract with Universal Music, so congrats from Max. Fantastic. They recognize his talent. Hope that they're paying him, compensating him well. I know that they certainly have a contract because now they've claimed his open source, no copyright protection music as their own. Because I got a copyright claim on a video I did, a live stream when I did political satire with the Zol. Anyway, should stream it live, Chris. Yeah, I get a copyright strike on my video. We have Paulie says we have a Ramaphosa sighting video. Bloody funny. What a good laugh. Well, hey, you're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. 12 out of 10s on the laugh meter. Yeah, no, it wasn't right. Guys, I actually had a script. Maybe I'll do a live stream to show you that script, but I prepared a script that I was going to do. I put it together yesterday, and I was prepping. I have a milk carton label. I was going to put out with a picture of Ramaphosa, like a missing child, And anyway, so maybe I should have done that and do it after the fact. But if he goes missing for a long period of time, maybe I'll do it. But I was cautioned that you shouldn't do that. We might have a knock on the door from the State Department and have an international incident. Nonsense, folks. It would have clearly been marked as political satire. The following video is political satire, not meant to be news, but rather political satire. Then I would have done the bit, and after it was over, I would have remarked once again that this is political satire, not genuine news. Anyway, but still it upsets some people. So anyway, there you have it. The Puppet Master. Yeah. Yeah, NDZ is the Puppet Master. Can I be a moderator for your channel? I will help with spammers and bots. Well, Kyle, I don't have spammers and bots yet. I guess I'm not important enough. But you're asking to be a moderator, and I have to set it up. I don't even know how to make someone a moderator. I know that Ronaldo made me a moderator the other day, and I don't even I know that what that allows me to do, but I'm getting people's their profanity comments coming across and says approve or disapprove, and I haven't been doing it because I'm not the only moderator on Ronaldo's channel. So I need to talk to Ronaldo about what that all entails before I start making people moderators. But Kyle, yeah, you're at the top of my list. You're the first person to ask about being a moderator, and I'll look at making you a moderator. I just have to learn a little bit more about that function here on the channel. Hank is to his last pack of smokes. Oh man, well that sucks, Hank. Because I know that people. I don't know if you're addicted to nicotine, but those who are addicted really can't go without their smokes. So that's a shame. Gee, I wonder if we can stick them in mail and send them to South Africa. Can you be mailed smokes? I wonder. I don't think customs, if you go through DHL or UPS, maybe you could get the smokes there. Now, you'd have to have a really good friend, say in a country where you can actually buy cigarettes, a real country. But anyway, Hank has got to take off. Yeah, I think we're all going to take off here shortly. Rook and cigarette and dog. Yeah, I smoke one a day. Yeah, there you go. Good stuff there. Well, folks, I thank those of you who tuned in. It's been great. This again was just I brought on Ramaphosa's stream, and then we got cut off by the red ants, and folks rejoined. So I appreciate folks rejoining. The whole purpose was just because for those who are subscribers to Ronaldo Host channel and those who subscribe to Ramon's Morning Shot channel. There were so many people watching on those channels, thousands and thousands, that the chat was just streaming by so fast that there was no point even doing a chat. So I figured, what the heck, why don't I just go ahead and do a live stream and I can watch it and not be distracted by that chat. And if anybody wants to discuss what's being said, I can also add my commentary. I don't know if you could hear my comments. I did pipe in a few times when Ramaphosa was talking, but he doesn't breathe. Further evidence that Cyril Ramaphosa is a Dalek. He doesn't breathe. He just keeps talking. There's almost no pause in his comments. I know. Hypocrite, right? I talk consistently too, but I'm on here to talk. I'm not giving a speech. Give a speech, man. Take a breath. Unless you're a Dalek, then you don't need to breathe, right? We are, of course, a consultative government and transparent to South Africa. Exterminate, exterminate. Yeah. Cyril Ramaphosa, is he a Dalek? Maybe that'll be my next show. Is Cyril Ramaphosa a Dalek? Investigative journalism. Yeah, no, anyway, so that was the whole purpose, was just to give people a chance to watch the stream from ENCA. So it's not fake news. It's ENCA, right? Not fake news. So give them a chance to watch it if they wanted to jump in with some commentary. And some folks did. So I appreciate those of you who tuned in and joined us. It was great to have you in during Cyril's repeat engagement. We could have simply, spliced in 2 or 3 comments he made and simply replayed the tape from 3 weeks ago. And so we would be wondering if we had a Kim Jong-un situation and where's Kim? Where's Cyril? Anyway, so thank you all for tuning in for that. Hopefully it added value. I thought it added value, and I enjoyed the commentary from folks, and also the roast of Cyril after the fact. But it's been a very generous and very kind roast. We haven't said anything ill. I mean, you can do a roast, a real roast. You really, like the Hofmeier roast. They really roasted Steve Hofmeier. But when you roast someone, you really go after them. I've just been very kind, I think, to Ramaphosa. I mean, calling him a Dalek, or calling him the deputy president, that's not a very serious dig. Just lighthearted humor. So hopefully folks will enjoy it. Let's see what else, folks. Chris, can you email them? Can I email who? Who am I emailing? Cigarettes? Is that what you mean, Nicholas? Can I email cigarettes? Yeah, I'll email you cigarettes, but I don't think that's going to help people who want to smoke. Chewing gums helps with quitting. Yeah, a lot of people say that. Um, Kyle says, thanks. If you get cravings, thanks, people. And the Colonel, great as always, Hank. We'll start smoking AA group therapy. Yeah, maybe. All right, so yeah, folks are dropping off now. But any last comments or questions, check my email, please. I said about 10 minutes ago. Well, I will. I can't do that very effectively here and keep the stream going because you don't see it, but just behind the scenes, I'm every now and then swatting the red ants because they're trying to get to my cable again. So I can't really do email and do the stream. I'm not that talented yet. Maybe I will become that talented. We shall see. But I will say one thing about YouTubing. This is a lot different than being a disc jockey or a DJ at a radio station because you don't have an audience there. Although these days people stream it like Ronaldo streams his show as a disc jockey or DJ. He called me old because I said disc jockey. Sorry, DJ. But anyway, it certainly is different from the standpoint that you have a whole setup, electronics, with tape decks and did CD players and vinyl players before that, and all the connections and stuff, and you can see all the sound levels and stuff. I've got some of that on this little pseudo studio in front of me, but keeping this going with the Red Ants and keeping them at bay is very different so far, I'm discovering, than having worked in a radio station, although there are similarities. So anyway, we are seeing what's going on. But well, now we're going to 3D print the cigarettes. Well, good luck with that, smoking that plastic. That'll be fun. Not going to work, and they're toxic. I guarantee smoking 3D printed cigarettes will be toxic for you. Far more detrimental than nicotine or tar. Yeah, so I would not recommend it, smoking CD or 3D printed cigarettes. Yeah, we're all laughing, guys, but hey, it's really a big deal for those who smoke. And this whole effort to socially engineer people's behavior is nonsense. It's unfair to socially engineer cigarette smoking for people who smoke. If you want to do that, you need to start before people smoke to discourage them from smoking so they don't ever smoke and become addicted or become a part of their life. I'm not advocating we do that. I don't like cigarettes. I don't like smoking, but I have no objections to it if others do it. It doesn't intrude in my personal space. That's their business. That's their life. But you can't socially engineer. It's morally wrong to try to do this to people who already smoke. If you want to do that to kids before they get started. That's how you have to do it. That's a real approach. Lucy taking off. She's out. Okay, I think a lot of folks are going to drop off at we're at 1 hour and 27 minutes. So I think I'm going to wrap up the stream here, folks. Hey, thanks a lot for tuning into my channel. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the feedback. I hope I answer your questions well. I really appreciate the question earlier about pick a random country behind me. Maybe we'll make that a feature of my Stray Voltage live streams. We'll pick a country, and there's only 54, so I'll run out eventually. But we'll pick a country, and we'll see how much does Chris know about the topic off the top of his head. And I won't cheat and look up the data ahead of time. That would be unfair. So if people ask me, I'll do that on my live stream. But thanks for tuning in to live stream. The post-presidential address, the Cyril roast here, as we discovered that Cyril Ramaphosa apparently is a Dalek. Anyway, well, thanks a lot, folks, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Check out my videos. Check out Giselle's concert stream that's on my channel. You'll really enjoy it. Watch it again and again. There's no charge. You can see it play in the background. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. God bless you all in South Africa and Southern Africa, across Africa, here in the United States, and anyone tuning in, say, from Europe or from Australia, New Zealand. We've got a few of those who watch the channel. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I really enjoyed your presence today in this post-Ramaphosa roast, as we discussed the events and topics he came up with. Paulie says, thanks. It was great to bring the laptop to work this evening. I'm glad you're able to watch it there this evening, Paulie. Thanks a lot, folks. You all have a pleasant evening and a wonderful night in South Africa and Southern Africa. And those here in the States, enjoy your evening and your meal. I'm off to buy some topsoil and get some goodies for the fridge. So you all take care. We'll catch you next time. This has been Chris coming to you live stream on the Stray Voltage stream from central Pennsylvania, talking about, of all things, South Africa and South Africa, and President Cyril Ramaphosa's address. Cyril Ramaphosa, also known as Puxatani Ramaphosa, has reappeared and made an appearance in public with a nationally televised stream, reiterating virtually every comment that he made 3 weeks ago with a few minor changes to let us know about what's happening in South Africa. And the most famous line from his presentation, which we'll remember into perpetuity, is, "We are, of course, a consultative government and transparent." No, you're not, my friend. That's fiction. Thank you for sharing that novel with us. We really enjoyed it tonight from President Cyril Ramaphosa. Here we are with the second part of this live stream at 1 hour and 29 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, have a pleasant evening. Thank you for tuning in. God bless. We'll catch you.